I really enjoyed that mudslide, actually.
Yeah, well, weren't there a few other problems during that film?
Well, I think I collected around 7 stitches during that film. There were, odds and ends, like the scene where they take refuge in the plane that crashed that was filled with marijuana and stuff. And to make the plane very realistic, they had sort of cut it like a can opener around the edges. So I was, walking along and started to slip, so threw my arms out to balance and drove part of the plane right into my arm. That was 3 stitches. And then in the fight with the villain up on the fort, when we were rolling over and over on the stone fort, he slammed me down. That was 4 stitches. So yeah, I had a few experiences with that one.
And of course, it was the first time that you worked with Michael Douglas.
Oh yeah. Well, I appreciate it very much, but he said that he couldn't have done it without me, which is entirely true. I really don't know many women that would have put up with that.
Do you know his office called 3 times to make sure I got that clear?
Sweet.
Thought that was lovely. And to have Kurt in it was really impressive.
Kurt was we met in Mexico. I was his date. We went to dinner in Mexico City. And so ever thereafter for the last, 30 years or so, I've been his Mexican date.
And of course, Danny DeVito was in there too. And that was
always with Danny, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the beginning of the triumvirate.
Yep.
War of the Roses, Romancing the Stone, and then War of the Roses, which Danny directed.
Yeah.
And what was the third one?
Well, Jewel the Nut.
Oh, Jewel the Nut, right. The sequel to Romancing the Stone. In War of the Roses, the ending that we saw tonight almost didn't happen.
Well, they tried. The studio, when they realized we were actually going to follow the script and die, got into a bit of a panic. They decided that really, truly, Kathleen and Michael Douglas could not die. We just couldn't die. They couldn't allow it. So they tried to convince us to shoot a different ending. But luckily, Danny and Michael and I together had enough, pull, strength to say, no, we shoot it this way or we don't shoot it at all. And so they had to give it to us. But they kept saying, no, you don't understand, these people have to die. They have to.
Didn't they want, ambulances taking off?
Yes.
Going in different directions. And I think it's the one scene I will always remember. That and the dog possibility in the soup. What are you cooking? Yeah. It was the pate. That was it.
Actually, Danny, as a present at the end of the film, Danny gave me this beautiful silver pate dish that says woof.
She didn't really use the dog. I got my list of films I know. Bonnie, let's start with the beginning. Bonnie, you had an amazing career where you got out of college and you had something that rarely happens. You hit New York and you started working almost right away.
Yes, I did. It doesn't happen very often. But when I moved to New York, I did what everyone, does. Got a job as a waitress and everything, and was doing temporary work in offices. And I got an off-Broadway play at about 6 months. And then I got a soap opera. It was called The Doctor. On NBC. I had about 10 months. And then a month later, I got a Broadway play. So I was running to the studio at 6 o'clock in the morning to do the television show, and then at 6 o'clock I would leave to go to the theater and then do a show every night, which was really thrilling, very exciting. But I was 22. You can do those things when you're 22.
So how did Body Heat start? I mean, you went from that to Body Heat, didn't you?
Well, I did a lot of work in theater, and I was auditioning for a film. What I didn't realize at the time was that there was one really big, important, talented casting director, a woman named Marion Downey in New York, and she was training 3 women to follow her, to take care of the business after her. One was Juliet Taylor, one was Gretchen Rennell, and one was Wally Sita. So unbeknownst to me, the 3 of them had seen my work and decided that they had a competition to see who would be the first one to put me in a film. But I didn't know that. But anyway, so they came to New York to audition for Body Heat, and the casting directors in New York were these 2 men. And they would not allow me to come in and read for the part, because they said I had no film experience, which was true, and there was no point in wasting their time. So about 4 months later, I went out to Los Angeles to audition for a different job. And Wally Masita, one of the 3 women, had been hired in Los Angeles to cast Body Heat there. So when she heard I was in town, she called me in to read for Larry. And we went on from there.
When they started, the film had a start, and then they stopped it, or they put a
Oh yeah,
hold
well,
on
the
it?
actors went on strike. SAG went on strike. We were supposed to start in June. We ended up starting in late November, I think. The actors were on strike for almost 6 months. And we were very frightened, Bill and I, that we would lose the film, that they would, decide not to make it rather than hold everybody, for that amount of time. But what it really meant was that the film we were supposed to shoot in the heat of the summer ended up being shot in the middle of the winter. And it was really cold. I mean, it was freezing cold. And of course the crew is standing around in their down jackets and everything, and the makeup man is spraying us with water for sweat. I really wanted to kill him. And we would chew on ice cubes so that, our breath would be very, very cold. So that when they rolled camera, we would spit out the ice cubes and our breath wouldn't cloud. We wouldn't see the smoke from our breath. Oh, it made it look hot.
It
But
was
that's acting.
That was definitely hot acting. Yes.
Yeah, it was acting, yeah.
All right, now the interesting thing is you created quite a sensation after Body Heat came out. And if I remember right, you even went back to waitressing between films.
Well, I had to. What happened was that I had to, they weren't paying me very much money, and they were certainly not paying me. I mean, it was Bill Hurt's second film. It was my first. So he was making some decent money, but I wasn't. And I had to keep my apartment in New York, and I had to pay for an apartment, a little guest house in Los Angeles. So basically, almost all my salary went to just, being able to have a place to live. So when we finished the film and I went back to New York, I had to make some money right away. So the easiest way to do it, of course, was to go back to the restaurant I'd been working at before. And so I went back and I asked if I could, have some hours again and work. And they said, sure. And they said, well, where have you been? You haven't been away. I said, well, actually I was shooting a movie. And they said, you were shooting a movie? I said, yeah, actually I was a lead in a movie. And they went, oh my God. I said, what's it called? I said, it's called Body Heat. And they went, yeah.
Well, from what I understand too, is that when Body Heat came out and people realized it wasn't a sexploitation film, that you were getting a lot of the scripts that had the same character as Maddie over and over again.
Oh yeah, no, they always do that. You have one film that's a success, and they give you, Body Heat 2, Body Heat 3, Body Heat 4. They really like to just keep doing what they know already worked. But I find that extremely uninteresting. And I had no intention, of doing another Body Heat. I did Body Heat. That was enough. So then they said, well, what do you want guys? I said, I'm really very funny. They went, oh, you're funny? And somebody said, no, you can't be sexy and funny at the same time. I said, well, something So then Bill, Steve Martin came along with Carl Reiner directing, and we had to convince Carl to give me an audition because he said, yeah, no, the girl's got to be sexy, but she's got to be funny too. He said, just let me read. So I went in and to meet with Steve and with Carl, and threw myself around, like in that take when I fall flat to the floor. I used to love throwing myself around. Anyway, and I crawled up Steve's leg, and I don't know what all I did, but it made them laugh.
And they kept it in the movie too.
No. When
Momentum took breaks were huge comedic hit, but I can't remember what you went to next, but I'm thinking of the fact that sex seems to be so prevalent in your films, but in different ways, because in Prince's honor, didn't the director think that you couldn't be funny and sexy?
That was a man with two brains. Well, John Huston said, no one is funny, no woman is sexy and funny at the same time. And that's when I choreographed the scene on the bed with Jack and we're rolling back and forth. I called it Who's on Top, And then until we finally roll off the bed, and then we had to stop because Jack was going, fight back, Jesus! So that was the end of that scene. Anyway, but Houston was rather old-fashioned.
Worked with a lot of, not only incredible leading men, because we saw quite a lovely array up there, but also great directors. Francis Ford Coppola cast you in Ladies Who Got Married, which you got great recognition for, and probably should have won the Academy Award. Though I remember that the woman that did it, didn't she give a nice speech about how great you had done in the...
Oh, yeah, that's so long ago.
Plus, Wendy. Your real grandparents were on that.
Yeah, my family very well knew my grandmother and my grandfather, they were all together, and I knew that she was he was my grandfather. He was starting to have and so I think the guy was something like, when we had a And so I'm in the hospital saying, you have to call the studio and tell them I'm not coming today. So they accepted the fact that it was not going to happen that day.
And another thing that I found very interesting is that you had to record all of your dialogue before they drew you because of your breathing.
We did both. I did record a lot of it, so because I can't finish the mouth, the face, or the breasts, because when she breathes, I can't button her back. Then please go up and down, yeah? And so I had to give them a recording, and they would then draw the cartoon, and then we'd take their final version and mine and put it back together. I would re-record based on the drawing that they had done. It was an extraordinary technique, that film. It will never be done again. You know, there was an actual drawing on frames. There must be, I think they say 300 drawings, 300 frames a minute. You know, all hand drawn, cell by cell. So, yeah, I mean, this kind of work will never be done again, but it was the first of its kind.
Just like the way body presented sex, so did House of Cards break the mold. By using autism.
Well, it wasn't, I think it was a wonderful film. I don't think it's been seen as much or understood as well as it could have been, but it was, I think, very early. It deals a lot with virtual reality at a time when we made it, when virtual reality really wasn't commonly known. And then, of course, dealing with the idea of autism and the roots of autism. It was extraordinary. We were working in a school with a group of autistic and Down syndrome children that were just delightful. My daughter was there then, and she would help these kids, you know, with a box of juice or something to eat and sit with them and listen to them. And one of the funniest moments was there was a shot where we were walking down the school corridor, and some of the kids are at their lockers or, you know, just passing by. And there was this one Down syndrome boy who was very outgoing. You know, he was high functioning. And I walked past, and the camera is following me, and he goes, "God, you're hot!" And I want that in the film, man.
Another, I mean, and it really is amazing because you really took on risking. You were at the high point of your career, I think, when you took a risk of doing one of the very first digital films, high definition films in Italy called Julia and Julia.
Yeah, Julia and Julia was extraordinary. It was the first definition film. It was a joint project between Rai and the BBC and Sony. And actually, Francis Coppola came over to England, to Italy, where we were shooting it, to really try and you know, be part of this technology. Francis is always fascinated, you know, by new technology. And it was problematic. It was very difficult at times to do. We found, because it was such high resolution, we found that going to and from the camera the camera could easily resolve the image, the pixels, you know. But if we crossed the camera with any speed, we had a ghost, you know. So we had to make these elaborate plans to run toward the camera, stop, look behind, and then go. So the camera could resolve itself before I make it look natural. No problem.
And thank God they got rid of that problem. And of course, what's amazing is that when I was putting the film clips together, which, by the way, I'd like to mention that David Watson out of Nashville, Tennessee, was my editor helping put the show together. That everything now, pretty much in theaters, is all digital.
Oh yeah, but no, this was all didn't have that capability at that time.
Oh, I know. The cameras that were extremely expensive.
Oh, well, yeah, no company really owned their cameras, you know. It was Panavision owned and copyrighted all the cameras. We rented them for an exorbitant fee. That's what I find so extraordinarily hopeful now. And why festivals like this are so important, because now the independent filmmaking, and I made a beautiful indie film about 2 years ago called Perfect Family, that I like very much. But now, with the possibilities of digital and the equipment that is so much more accessible and usable, we can have a great array of filmmaking, and this is where the independent believe now is truly when we'll have the most magic come out of it. We still have the problem, of course, of distribution, of trying to get these films out to where people can really see them. But festivals like this is where it can be done. So thank you.
And it seems that accidents and near-death experiences in films is a part of your work. It seems in Jewel of the Nile, you tried to end everything. Was it a plane ride?
Oh yeah. No, Michael and I were we were shooting in McNess, I think. And we were coming back to Fez at night after we shot all day. We had to be back, and we were in this small plane, small jet, and we were trying to land at the little airport in Fez, and they shut off all the lights. Anyway, we had a wonderful pilot, but still, it came in uneven, and one wing touched the runway, and we started to go over, and he pulled it up, he pulled it up, he pulled it out. I have no idea how. Michael and I thought, we were saying to each other, tell my husband I love him, tell my wife I love him, trying to get some last messages, and one of us survived. But the pilot was that good that we did get down safely.
And of course, it was another huge success. You had an incredible career, but
Actually, there's a really funny story I'd like to share about Jewel of the Nile, which was that, if you've seen it, we had built a mock F-14 fighter plane, and we had it parked, whatever you call it, at the airport in Ouarzazate, which is on the edge of the Sahara Desert. Now, at that time, and probably still, there were very bad, there was a lot of problems between Morocco and its neighboring country. And with Libya, I believe, in any case, they were very suspicious of each other and coveting the same stretch of the Sahara. So somebody flew over Ouarzazate and saw this American warplane and accused the Moroccan government of starting to escalate the war, at which point, the king sends one of his sons down to tell us that we have to get rid of the F-14. Now, the F-14 actually is on top of a little Volkswagen bus. And we drive the airplane through the town because we have this man in a bug underneath driving us through the town. So we try to explain, we show him, this is actually, it's all entirely taken away. So we have to take pictures, we have to take pictures of the man in the car, we have to show how it works, and to send them to the Libyan government so they wouldn't bomb us.
I can see it now. The president has to issue a statement because there's a Volkswagen driving through Saudi Arabia. Now, her film career is astounding. Her acting is incredible, and her courage is amazing. Because somewhere in this process of your work, you had something that hit you that is the death to anyone's film career.
Yeah, it can be. Well, I came down after Serial Mom. I got back from shooting Serial Mom and realized that something was very, very wrong with me. I couldn't wear any shoes. I couldn't use my arms. I couldn't turn my head. And finally, I was diagnosed with having rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease. And at that time, about 20 years ago, we didn't have any of the biologics or the medications that we have today. So that meant a lot of very, very damaging and dangerous drugs. But quite honestly, the doctor told me I would never walk again, and I told him he was fired. And got another one. Anyway, obviously that didn't happen because I'm here.
When you were talking about Serial Mom, you had to run in heels.
Mom. Oh, God, that hurt.
When you've taken on top of all this,
never went more than 2 years without going back to stage. I never wanted to lose my skill or my confidence, you know, in being on stage. Because I think it is the most extraordinary thing. I wish you all could come see me in a play. I swear, I'm really good. But of course, to me, the theater is so unique because what happens that night with the people who are there and how the play is going and the actors are handling it, it will only happen that night with those people. Everyone who works or leaves the theater that night knows that what they saw and experienced will never be the same again. No one will repeat the experience that they had, and nor will we. And I think that is such an extraordinary gift to all of us that I will never give up, you know, stage. We'll never give up theater.
One of the things that the stage show you used to play Virginia Woolf. And when I saw the original, I mean not the original, but the movie with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, I really just couldn't, it didn't seem to match what I felt the script said it was about. And I think when you did it, you changed it to your perspective of finding it a funny play.
Well, no, I mean, Edward Albee wanted Betty Davis and James Mason to play the roles in the film. But Edward at that time did not have, you know, enough power to make it so. And I actually never seen the entire film because I never wanted to. I never wanted anyone else's Martha in my head. Moreover, I never thought Elizabeth Taylor was that good an actor. Sorry. Anyway. But what they did with that film, which I really mind, and what we had to fight against, was make it two drunks screaming at each other all night. Well, who wants to go to the theater and sit watching two drunks screaming at each other? In truth, in the play, as Albee wrote it, George is not drunk. George has one drink and he nurses through the whole night. Martha, of course, drinks and gets out of control. But it is extremely funny. The play has these huge belly laughs right up until the end. And the response, you know, was so extraordinary. People say, well, they had no idea